Hello and welcome to McIver's Grant Public Library Storytime Tuesday. Today we're going to read the book Dasher by Matt Tavares. Matt Tavares wrote the words to this book, so he's the author, and he also drew the pictures. Aren't they amazing pictures? He's the illustrator. This book says, How a Brave Little Doe Met Santa and Changed Christmas Forever. This is one of those books that when Miss Vanessa gets to see it in the catalog, she says, yep, that one's going in the cart for sure. Never a doubt. It was published by Candlewick Press, and I'm so excited because this is the first time we've gotten to read it. You may have heard the story of how certain red-nosed reindeer was chosen to guide Santa's sleigh one foggy Christmas Eve. You've probably heard of the 8 other reindeer too, and maybe you even remember all their names. Do you remember their names? But you might be surprised to hear that there was a time long ago when Santa's sleigh was pulled not by a team of reindeer, but by a single horse named Silverbell. In those days, Santa didn't have quite as many toys to deliver as he does now, but over the years, as more and more children believed in the magic of Christmas, Santa's list grew longer and longer, and his sleigh grew heavier and heavier. Santa knew that pretty soon, dear old Silverbell was going to need some help. This is the story of how an ordinary family of reindeer became the most famous animals in the world, and it never would have happened if it weren't for a brave young doe named Dasher. And there's a picture right there. That's just the beginning of the beginning of the story. The story hasn't even started yet. And did you know that Dasher was a doe, which is a female deer? There's a picture, Dasher. Isn't that a beautiful picture all the way across 2 pages? What does that look like? Does that look like the North Pole? Where do you think they're at? Looks like a zoo or a carnival or a traveling circus. Life was not easy for the reindeer family of J.P. Finnegan's traveling circus and menagerie. They spent long days crammed together under the hot sun as an endless stream of curious people jostled to catch a glimpse of them. A menagerie is a group of animals. It's a place where they have a group of animals, kind of like a zoo. If it's a traveling menagerie, then they have to move from place to place, don't they? Like how when the fair comes every year. Even at night, there was little rest. Some nights, to pass the time, Mama would tell stories. It was a magical place, she would say. The air was crisp and cold, and the ground was always covered with a cool blanket of white snow. Your father and I were free to roam under the glow of the North Star. And there they are at night. Instead of resting at night, they're pulling the wagons to their next place. There's not a lot of rest for them, is there? What do you think Mama's talking about when she's talking about living up where there's snow and the North Star is right overhead? Where do you think that might have been? Dasher, the youngest reindeer, loved Mama's stories. Is that the North Star, Mama? She asked. The very same, Mama said. We always knew we were home when it was directly overhead. I wish we could go there, said Dasher. Mama sighed. I do too, but Mr. Finnegan is not kind to animals who try to escape. And if you can see in the picture, there's the North Star. And is it way overhead? Is it way over Dasher's head? It's way down, isn't it, on the horizon? So they're not home because it's not over their head. Day after day, under the watchful eye of Mr. Finnegan, the reindeer family delighted the crowds wherever they went. Dasher liked being with her family, and she loved meeting so many children who were always kind to her. Sometimes they even fed her carrots, which were her very favorite food. But at night, while the others were sleeping, she would lie awake, gazing at the bright star on the horizon and wishing for crisp, cold air and cool blankets of white snow. There's Dasher eating a carrot. Yum, yum. Do y'all like carrots? One night, mighty winds shook the circus tents and rattled the animals' cages. Dasher was wide awake, wishing on the North Star, when she was startled by a loud creak. The gate to her pen had swung open. Dasher could hear the rustling from inside Mr. Finnegan's trailer. She glanced up at the North Star. She looked back at her sleeping family. She knew this might be her only chance. Her heart pounded. She took a deep breath, and then she ran as fast as she could. Look. On she went for hours with the North Star as her guide, but no matter how far she traveled, it was still way off on the horizon. And that's a wonderful picture, isn't it? Look at Dasher crossing a stream. You can see the North Star still on the horizon, still nighttime. Dasher began to wonder if she would ever make it there. She thought about turning back, but she couldn't remember the way. She didn't know what to do. So she looked up at the North Star, and she made a wish. Just then, Dasher heard something in the distance, a soft jingling coming from the woods. I bet she already misses her family. What do you think? I bet she does. There, in a clearing, Dasher saw a man and a horse. "I'm sorry, Santa," said the horse. "The sleigh is just so heavy this year." The man smiled. "Now don't you worry, Silver Bell," he said. "We'll take all the breaks you need." "But the children," said the horse, "they'll be heartbroken if we can't deliver all these toys by Christmas morning." "Children?" thought Dasher, and she stepped forward. "Maybe I can help," she said. Who did she find in the clearing? Was that brave to step out of the woods and offer to help? It was, wasn't it? She doesn't know who they are. She doesn't know about Santa and Silver Bell yet. "Hello there," said the man. Dasher walked closer. The man smiled. "Have you ever pulled a sleigh?" Dasher shook her head. "I've never even seen a sleigh," she said, "but I pull a wagon just about every night." "Well," said the man, "how would you like to make a whole bunch of children really happy on Christmas morning?" "I would like that very much," said Dasher. I like that picture. It's a pretty picture, isn't it? And look, that's the one in the front of the book. I like it when they pull a picture from inside for the cover, because then when you see it, it's like finding a friend in the middle of your book, isn't it? Santa thanked Dasher and attached her harness. It was soft against her fur, and its jingling bells made the most beautiful sound she had ever heard. Santa climbed into his sleigh. Dasher pulled with all her might, and then suddenly the load felt lighter. Dasher looked down. Why do you think the load got lighter? Maybe Silver Bell's helping her. What do you think? Is it because Silver Bell's helping her pull? I'm going to let you get close up on that picture. Look how pretty. Makes me want it to be snowing. Maybe it'll snow here this year. Do you think it'll snow? I got off course though. Why was the sleigh lighter? Because they were flying. Isn't that awesome? They could fly. I didn't know that Silver Bell the horse could fly too. All night, Dasher and Silver Bell pulled Santa's sleigh through the air as Santa guided it from rooftop to rooftop, delivering toys to children everywhere. Dasher had never experienced such a thrill, and she ate so many carrots she felt like she would burst. She was having so much fun, she forgot all about the North Star. That's a pretty good night, isn't it? It's pretty interesting. As the first light of dawn appeared on the horizon, they landed. The air was crisp and cold. The ground was covered with a cool blanket of white snow. Dasher searched for the North Star on the horizon, but couldn't find it anywhere. Santa smiled. "Dasher," he said, "look up." And there it was, directly overhead. "Is that the North Star?" she said. Santa's eyes twinkled. "Merry Christmas," he said, "and welcome home." Can you see? You can't even see the star in the picture because it's so far over her head. It's directly up instead of down here on the horizon. You can see the light coming down from it though. She made it. She made it to the North Pole, where her mother always talked about. The North Pole was just as wonderful as Mama's stories. Dasher roamed wherever she pleased, and Santa gave her all the carrots she wanted, but something was missing. What do you think was missing? She had a job to do for Santa. She was up in the snow where she wanted to be. She could roam around. She wasn't in a pen anymore. What do you think she was missing? Can you tell me? Tell me right now what you think. You're right. I know you're right. "I love it here," she told Santa, "but I miss my family. I wish we could be together." Santa smiled. "That is your best wish yet, Dasher," he said. "Let's go find them." There's Dasher up under the North Star, missing her family. Late that night, Dasher guided Santa's sleigh all the way to J.P. Finnegan's traveling circus and menagerie. "Mama! Papa!" Dasher whispered. "Everyone, wake up!" Mama lifted her head. "Dasher," she said, "is it really you?" "It's me, Mama," said Dasher. She told her family all about Santa and Silverbell and how the North Pole was just as amazing as Mama's stories. "But I missed you," she said. "You were all I wished for." Dasher led her family to Santa's sleigh, and Santa attached their harnesses. "You're not going to believe this part," she said. And what did they get to do? What did her family get to do? Fly through the air. And where do you think they're going? Say it loud. The North Pole! That's right. When Christmas Eve arrived, Silverbell watched as Santa prepared his team. "Are you sure you don't want to come?" asked Dasher. "I'm sure," said Silverbell. "I know the 8 of you will do a fine job." There's Santa's sleigh. There's all the reindeer in there starting to fly. There's Silverbell. Did you see Silverbell in the picture? There's Silverbell. Late that night, as Santa and his new team of reindeer soared around the world, he called them by name for the very first time. Would you want to say it with me? Let's say it with me. "Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner, and Blitzen." Did you know that all of Santa's reindeer were a family? I didn't know that. I like this story. I like that it's kind of changing up something that is a tradition for a lot of people. Look at them going through the snow. On Christmas morning, after all the toys had been delivered, they flew back to the North Pole, where they still live happily today. There, the air is crisp and cold. The ground is always covered with a cool blanket of snow. Just like Mama's stories. Do you think they're happy there? And they're all together. I'm so glad that they got back together. And Dasher has everything she ever wished for. What would you have if you could have anything that you wished for? I love this book. I'm so glad that you joined me and we were able to share it together. And I hope you have a wonderful Christmas. And we'll see you again next Tuesday at 11.